Welcome to the Temple of Flame. On today, Faith Block Lights, we take a look at these. And you know, it's been a while, been a little bit of time since we have done a head-to-head here, or I have done a head-to-head here rather, on the old channel, on the series here. And so I thought, you know, why not mango habanero? I think they're both jellies, what I would call jellies, but I was talking to my mom, and she thought that maybe what differentiates a jam versus a jelly is actual pieces of fruit in the content. I don't know. She very well could be right. I am deferring to her wisdom on this and just kind of rolling with that. I thought it had to do with texture and consistency and spreadability, but her thing makes sense too. I don't know what constitutes a preserve versus a reserve. Maybe someday I'll figure that out, or maybe I'll be done finding jams and jellies that I want to do, and I just will have to live with not having that particular bit of knowledge. Anyway, so we've got from Terrapin Ridge Farms the mango habanero jam, and from Melinda's we have the mango habanero pepper jelly. Let's take a little look at the only ingredients. So we've got sugar, mango puree, mango water, and looks like there's a little bit of pineapple juice concentrate, the apple juice concentrate, and habanero powder, pectin, and citric acid. So that is that one. And for the Melinda's, we have sugar, mango, white vinegar, habanero pepper mash. So mash instead of a powder, lime juice, water, citric acid, pectin, ascorbic acid, and potassium sorbate. All right, definitely there is a slight color difference here, and we'll get into that here in a second. First, we have to get yield knife, the old edge keeper here, so we can cut the plastic off. Is there not plastic? I think there is. Laser precision there. Look at that. Okay, there's that one. And let's just pop it off. I mean, it doesn't really smell like anything. It does definitely look sort of mango-y. Oh, we got a little bit of liquid on top here. I think I did another one from Terrapin Ridge Farms, the hot habanero bacon jam, and I think that one had the same thing. All right, did we get it? I think we did. Maybe. Yeah, we're good. Okay, and Melinda's. Okay. Here we have much more, not quite pinkish, sort of light orangish. You know what we ought to do? Let's get them in the old spoons. So now we have a white point. Look at that. Sort of tannish sand color almost. Very light palish brown as I drip it all on the table. Okay. Interesting. And let's go with the old Melinda's here. Definitely a very definite. Look at this. Whoa, interesting texture difference right out the gate. Like I said, it's more of a pinkish sort of light orangish color here. Of these two, definitely the Melinda's has a much more of an odor to it. And I'm dropping that on the table as well. I should just maybe leave this napkin right in place instead of pausing to wipe every second here, but here we go. Here they are, side by side. And let's start. I'm going to start with the Melindas this time. Wow. That is really good. Very nice tropical fruit vibe to it. So I did the ghost pepper strawberry from them as well. I will say that this is as hot as that, and I gave that a legit 1. So that bite had a good bit of spark to it. I like this actually better, I think, than that strawberry jelly. Wow, this is super nice. This might be my favorite. It probably is my favorite non-hot sauce product from Melinda so far. That is quite nice. I'm looking forward to using this on the grill. And we won't be doing that today. But kind of what I'm trying to do here is to get a feel for these. And then I'm going to be using them to grill, I think, probably some pork and some chicken down the line. Let me get a palate refresh here, though. Use a little Diet Mountain Dew. This is one of those things I go back and forth on a lot. I get really tired of this flavor sort of easily, so I give it a little break and then come back to it. All right, now we're going to go with Terrapin Ridge. If you're familiar with apple butter, that is kind of what this texture is like. Flavor wise, there are little bits and pieces of, there's another spice in here. This one is more like stringy mango as a spread. This one is, yeah, okay, there it is. So I thought there was like a sort of apple aspect to this, and that is kind of reading through here. I wanted to see if there's another flavor as well. This one is almost no heat. So this one is definitely more like an apple mango sort of concoction. This one is definitely more of a mango with the peppers, with the habaneros. Interesting, the habanero that was in the bacon habanero jam was also really, really subtle. So I guess maybe Terrapin Ridge is just not super interested in going very hot with stuff. So we're going to try this. Both of these say to use on cheese and crackers. First off, so we tried it plain. We'll get to the cheese and crackers momentarily. But first, we're going to try it just with crackers, I think. And this is the, well, I guess same on both sides. Multi-grain rounds. Oh, these are tiny. I really wanted to try to find the Bretons, but I think they wanted $5 for a sleeve, and no. Breton is by far my favorite cracker. Like, I love those. They're delicious. But I am not throwing $5 at a fucking sleeve of crackers. I'm just not doing that. That's too rich for my blood. These aren't what I was expecting. They're They are sort of in the vein of Bretons a little bit, whereas they're not super dry. Crackers. Yeah, these are interesting. Let's try we're gonna try Terrapin Ridge first this time. I think this one might be sweeter. These are going to work really, really well on grilling meats. Both of these, though. I'm kind of chomping at the bit here a little bit. All right, let's try this. The Melinda's here. Wow. So this one is a much more interesting from a chili head perspective because very vibrant, very tropical. You do get a sense of both the habaneros and the mangoes out of this one. They came up with something really super nice here. I will just say. So, yeah. Wow. Credit where it's due. Credit where it's due. Okay. All right, next we should get to some cheeses. So I got a couple of them. I got Monterey Jack. And I've got this, which is a Westminster Rustic Red. I was thinking about a Wensleydale or an Emmentaler. Emmentaler is closer to like a Swiss. The Wensleydale, I think, is more like a mild cheddar. But this one, they're calling it a sweet and nutty toned English red cheddar. So I was just kind of kicking around trying to find some stuff to pair specifically with mango. Okay, so we got the Monterey here. Monterey Jack is a good cheese. I do like Monterey Jack. There's not a lot of cheeses I don't like, I think. All right, we'll just split this right in half like so. And we get a couple of these, and I think I'll put the cheese on the cracker. And then we'll put the cheese on the jelly that's on the cracker. And all right, we're gonna go first with the Terrapin Ridge. So it's like a very slight hint of bitterness here. The creaminess. I better double check that. It's almost like an apple pie filling in a way. If you didn't put any cinnamon in it. Super nice. Our sweetness works really well with the cheese. Yeah, that's really good. So far in the old head-to-head, I gotta give the nod a little bit. Might as well not eat the plastic. I gotta give the nod a little bit to the Melinda's. Honestly, these are radically different, though. Radically different approaches. And so I'm trying to figure out which one I like better. All right, let's give it a go with the Melinda's. So because This one uses a mash. This one does have more astringency. It does have a bit more of a vinegar push to it. I don't know, that works really well with this cheese. All right. Yeah, maybe I just have them on crackers by themselves again. Monterey, I'm going to give it to the Terrapin Ridge. Let me go back to the regular crackers again. I just want to get a little baseline here. Now let me... All right. This is definitely the more forceful tasting of the two. Okay. By itself, and only with crackers, I like the Melinda's better. With the Monterey, I like the Terrapin Ridge better. They're both good, but like I said, just radically different approaches. Okay. Oh boy, look at this. Oh, this is sure some rustic cheese. All right. I'm not familiar with this. I want to get a little baseline here of this. Whoa. Super crumbly. Interesting. It almost reminds me of, you know, when you buy American cheese, not Velveeta, but like the harder American cheese in the blocks. It's kind of what it reminds me of a little bit. All right. So I'm going to keep sticking with Terrapin Ridge getting to go first, just because it's a lot more subtle of a flavor. And let's throw the old cheddar on there. I don't know about that one. By no means bad, but it's a little odd. Okay. That is not as good of a pairing. All right, let's give a couple whacks to the old Melinda's. See how this shakes out. Oh boy. Wow. Oh wow. That is it's fascinating how changing the cheese around just completely changes the dynamic here. Ooh. I don't really think of mango in terms of peanut butter jelly, although this one I think would be fine by itself. Like apple butter, you generally just have, you don't have it with other stuff, just apple butter. I think this would work pretty well on toast, actually. Not so much with this one. This one is really kind of its own thing. I think you need kind of a sort of a stronger flavor. It's really weird. Just like the creaminess of the cheese works so well. The Monterey works so well with this, and not at all with this. And the sort of biting nature of the cheddar works super well with this, and not honestly particularly well at all with this. So Just really, really interesting approaches here to these. So, all right, to conclude, so for the head-to-head battle, I'm giving this one to Melinda's. This one, I had some stringy, pulpy mango stuff stuck in my teeth. So you can definitely tell that there's real mango in both of these. Mango flavor is much more pronounced in the Melinda's. Melinda's is notably hotter. This doesn't have really any heat at all, particularly. So that was not a difficult thing to do. This one is a lot sweeter. And like I said, texture-wise, this one is closer to like an apple butter. Texture-wise, this one is more, actually, I wouldn't consider it a jelly so much as is almost a jam, because it has that sort of consistency where it seems like it's fairly spreadable. So I am, honestly, these are both, but they're both excellent. But I do prefer the Melinda's, and that is who wins this particular round. But this one, I think, does have some interesting uses that this one probably won't. Like, I wouldn't want this just on bread by itself, but this one, I think that would be really good. I'm kind of excited to get into these a little bit. I just kind of did jellies and jams and whatnot. This year is almost kind of an afterthought, just because I had done so many other things for coverage for the Chili Head world. And that was, I was like, well, I saw some of these things in the store, and I'm like, oh, whoa. So people are actually doing those? And of course, I've had some of my wish list on Amazon for a while, and they're just kind of, break glass in case of emergency if you need content and so on. And, I've just run so many of the other wells that I've tapped kind of dry. I mean, there's just, at this point, I think I've done around 60 spicy ramens, and a bunch of meats and cheeses, and like cheeses, I can't find any more spicy cheeses I haven't done as I filmed this. And I did a sausage. I've done some spicy sausages. I've done some beef jerkies and meat sticks and stuff like that. And it just seems like there's a lot less of it in 2025 than there was in 2024, which itself was a lot less than either of the two preceding years. So I think we're at the tail end now of the, the sort of hot, spicy food sort of wave. I mean, those things go in cycles. Just kind of the nature of it. But definitely I'm way more, I don't normally eat jams and jellies, but I'm really, really excited and interested to try just kicking this stuff around on the grill just to see what happens. You get kind of a nice glaze on stuff. And that's going to be a lot of fun, I think. Certainly mango habanero sauces I've had a number of times on pork and chicken and stuff. But here we should have a really good density of flavor. Melinda's, with their sort of branching out into stuff. I have not ever done a lot of products from them particularly. And I think this year they finally made some stuff that I can consume, and not all of it's good, but sometimes they just knock it out of the park like they did with this one. Terrapin Ridge. So Terrapin Ridge, I don't think the two products I had from them are bad by any means, but I also wouldn't really envision me ever getting those ever again. Like the hot habanero bacon jam, I'm enjoying that. It's fun to make burgers and stuff with it. This one I will probably enjoy as long as it's here, but I feel sometimes that people put the word habanero on labels as marketing, and that is really kind of what I feel like here, because there's not a lot of habanero flavor. Wasn't in either one of those two, and no heat in either one of them, despite the word hot actually appearing in the other one as well. The video for that, by the way, should be up if you're interested in seeing it. Check out the Spicy Sweets playlist. But their approach here is they definitely did a lot better than they did with the Strawberry Ghost Jelly. So it's kind of wild to see you know, sort of veering off of a hot sauce company into that kind of realm. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're doing it. I think it's important to have gateway products out there. I would definitely classify this as that, because you really get a good sense of what this should be. The combination of mango and habanero. And then if you're looking for that in a sauce, you'll kind of have a base of it. This one is a really interesting approach. I'm not sure it's the one I would make necessarily, but again, I think they're trying to make something more for not really necessarily in the chili headspace, I think is actually what these guys are doing. Whereas Melinda's is targeted pretty definitely at either an existing chili head or the Chile Curious. So, but anyway, we'll leave it right there. There's your Victor. Melinda's mango habanero pepper jelly, and the other half of the video here is the Terrapin Ridge mango habanero jam. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.